Welcome to the first episode of flipping $250 into a house by reselling sneakers. You're going to learn a lot along this journey, and I don't want it to just be a house for you. It could be a car, it could be anything that you want, whatever that desire is. But for this instance, I'm going to use a house. Whether it's a car, saving up money for vacation or retirement, whatever it is, this method will work the same thing, you're just getting a different outcome. Again, our entire goal here is to turn sneakers into cash so we can buy whatever we want, whenever we want. And you may be thinking, Caden, what house? Could it be a $5 house, $1 million house, whatever it is? Well, I'm gonna lay out the groundworks here. Basically, an FHA loan, so this is the loan that you need, the down payment to buy your first house, is 3.5% here in America. Majority of people qualify for that, so that's what we're going to use as our first example. Also, the average home price in America is around $400,000. You can find it cheaper in some areas, more expensive in others. That's the number we're going to use, and 3.5% of that is $14,000. Your mortgage is probably going to be around $3,000, but if you actually follow these videos in this whole series, you'll see that I'll make way more than $100 a day, meaning that you could totally afford the home that you're going to be purchasing from just reselling alone, not including any other jobs or other things you do. So now that we have the framework laid out, let's see how we're going to flip this $250 into $14,000. By the way, at the end of this part, I'm going to give away something completely free to you guys that's going to save you months of time and thousands of dollars as well. It's everything that I wish I knew when I got started, so make sure you stay tuned and watch the whole thing. So $250, you're very limited. Shoes are very expensive. In fact, this shoe right here is around 250 bucks. So you're really, really limited. Meaning with starting out with 250 bucks, we have to focus on very cheap shoes that sell extremely quickly, and we have to focus on volume. For reference, I started with $1,000 when I first started reselling, so $250 again is very, very low. However, it can still be done. And again, you don't have to use 250 bucks. Use as much money as you want. So on the first part, I spent all $250 at a Nike store on just 4 pairs. Again, that's the problem. I could only buy 4 pairs. With $1,000, like when I started, I was able to buy, again, 4 times as much, 16 pairs, which again, really, really helps. But either way, 4 pairs is what I bought. Let me show you what I bought. All right, so the first pair was a pair of KD15s that I paid $51 for. In my opinion, it's a really good price because they retail $150, which is a really high retail price. Anyways, a few days later, I sold them for $141 on GOAT, which was a $68 profit after fees. Again, that's including shipping, taxes, whatever it is, all fees included. $68 gets added to my $250, which is pretty great. The second pair was these brown Jordan Stadiums. Again, this is a shoe like, not that I wouldn't normally pick up. It's a shoe I would never wear, but most people wouldn't pick up. I know I'm gonna make money off it, so I bought it. And I got it for a really good price. So I paid basically $60 on those, but I made a $33 profit after fees. I'm really happy with that because again, that's a 50% ROI. Can't go wrong with that. That's 5 years in the stock market. Picked up this pair of Air Force Ones for $51. Again, can't really go wrong with $51 Air Forces, and I sold it for $103 on GOAT, another $33 profit. I'll take that all day. Again, I am not making double my money, but I'm making, what was that, 60% ROI, almost 70. I'll take that. And lastly, 2 pairs of the grade school Tatums for super, super cheap. I mean, I paid 42 bucks. Like, you can't go wrong with that. Look for those types of shoes, new shoes that come out that you're getting already half off. Really, really good deals. Anyways, I made a $30-something profit on it and a $41 profit on it, I believe. Again, can't really go wrong with those numbers. Very, very easy. And they sold, all those shoes, by the way, sold within a week. So here's the math from 4 different shoes, 5 total shoes. This is the profit. Again, really good. I'm making at least 30 bucks a pair. $207 profit from all one outlet. And again, I only spent $247 on that. So this was the profit, not the revenue. Like, this is how much money I made. All right. I ended up selling everything for over $500, but this is the profit that I walked away with. And then let's add that to the 250 that I already had. So now we're sitting at 457 bucks. That's a really good number to be sitting at because I almost just doubled my money, and I'll take it because now I have $457 to flip, which means I got a lot more money that I can deal with, which I love because again, 250 bucks, pretty limited with this much, makes it a whole lot easier. By the way, I didn't add this in the notes, but obviously I do have more than $250 in my bank account. And because of that, I'm not just gonna wait for all these shoes to sell to get my profit back. I'm not gonna wait for the money to get cashed out. I'm just gonna be constantly sourcing only with this money. So what that means is, yeah, I have $457 I can spend. However, once I buy those shoes, I have to wait for them to sell, yes, but I'm not gonna wait for the extra 3 to 4 days for the money to get cashed out to hit my account because that would just make this process a whole lot longer than it needs to be. So that entire section was just in-store sourcing because I didn't have much capital, and I know that's a lot of things that you guys struggle with is in-store sourcing. So I actually have a YouTube video that I just put together covering my basically in-store sourcing cheat sheet. It's not very long. You guys can just look it up on my YouTube video. In fact, I might just link it right here so you guys can go and watch it. But if you're having trouble in-store sourcing, watch that as well. Let's cover part 2, what I did with that $400 something on the next flip. So now with $457, I wanted to do some online flips. Now with online flips, you don't have as much of a margin as you do with in-store, in my opinion. And I also went with some hype shoes. So with hype shoes, typically they're a little bit more expensive, which means your ROI isn't gonna be as high. You'll still see I'll make some decent profit off these shoes, don't get me wrong. However, I'm just spending more money and not making as much versus, for example, those Jason Tatums that I talked about. I only spent $42 on that and I nearly doubled it with one pair, okay? So that's why it's important to source cheaper shoes because you can get bigger ROI, meaning you're making more money with basically less effort, less cash. All right, first online flips was the Nocta Glides. Really cool shoe. However, again, like I said, they retail $160. So my profit was only $34 after fees. Still that $34 profit margin. But again, remember, on those other shoes that I made $34 on, I paid way less than half of what I just paid for these Noctas. I'm not gonna complain, profit is profit, but when I'm lower on capital, kind of limits me. I got a pair of orange GT Cut 2s, and that's one of my favorite basketball shoes to flip right now. Picked them up for $69. By the way, you can find these in-store and online pretty easily for similar prices. And I just sold one on Alias, which is GOAT, for $150. So a $63 profit, I believe is what it was after fees. And by the way, you can find these a lot cheaper. I just had a client buy a bunch of them for only $51. And he just bought 8 more at Nike's sale that they're having right now. So always be looking for shoes, guys. That's kind of the context I want to explain there. This was an in-store pickup. I picked up these Vomeros for only $112 and I sold them for $184. I think it was a $45 profit after fees, if I remember correctly. And this pair of Dunks, just a random Dunk I found online for $100. Sold it for a $43 profit on Alias. Again, really happy with that. That just happens sometimes when shoes sell higher than they really should, in my opinion, but I'll take it. So real quick, back to this. I had $457. I spent $441, I believe is the number. So I literally had 16 bucks to spare. And yeah, I only had to buy like, well, how many shoes did I buy? 5 pairs of shoes? Again, not very many. It kind of sucks. I made a $184 profit after all expenses and fees. So now we're sitting at a pretty $641. Not bad after only just 2 flips from $250. And the ROI worked out to around a 40% ROI. Only reason being is because of that really expensive shoe, which was the majority of the cost that I spent. So I want to say we're halfway there, but we're not really that close to 14,000 yet. Let's see how far away we are. We still need another $13,359. Is it going to be possible? Of course, we just need to keep flipping. Now, let me give you guys the shortcut on how to get there quicker and what I might potentially be doing to get there quicker. Again, I'm only going to use cash, but this is what I would do if I wanted to get there quicker. I would take my cash and I would turn it into credit. With credit, you get so much more money and you have a lot more freedom with it too. You get different services like cashback and all these other things that just extend you time and give you more money than you actually have. Now, I do have to state this, credit is risk because credit is debt. Debt is risk, all right? So keep that in mind. If you're using credit, since it's not technically your money, you do owe that money back, obviously, right? And it is risky. So just keep that in mind. However, when I started reselling, credit really helped me out. Let me give you an example why. So again, I had $1,000 when I started reselling and it really sucked because again, I would run into that wall all the time where I spent all my money and then I had to wait to sell things to get it back. Now, let me give you an example. If you just had a 40% ROI on $1,000, let's say over 5 months, let me show you how much money that turns into. After 1 month, again, 40%, you make $400. Again, that money's gonna continue to compound. That's a beautiful thing. Now it's at $1,960. You do the same thing again. That money's at $2,700. You do the same thing again. That money's at $3,800. You do the same thing again. This is after 5 months. Now you turned $1,000 into $5,300, which is pretty good. Again, that's not a bad number at all. Let me show you what I was able to do because I was dealing with 4K instead of just 1K. So as you can imagine, now that you're dealing with just 4K, it makes it a whole lot easier. So here I am with 4K. I'm gonna get that same 40% ROI. Now I do have to buy more shoes, but I'm getting that same exact 40% ROI. So my ROI isn't anything higher. I'm just dealing with more money, right? So I'm dealing with more money, more inventory, and that money just continues to grow. Look at that. So instead of finishing with around $5,000 over the course of 5 months, I just flipped 4,000 into 21,000, which is crazy, right? And that would be only doing 1 flip per month. That's only flipping your entire cash flow and your entire capital once per month. That's not saying that you can't do that twice per month, because if you do that twice per month, man, that number is even exemplified. It's even higher. So that's why credit is so important. You don't have to use it to start a reselling business. Don't get me wrong. It's just what really helped me when I wanted to scale mine. Again, I realized it was risky, but I knew I was going to make money on shoes. It was just the problem of which shoes do I want to make money on? And you don't want that issue. You don't want to have to decide, hey, should I make $20 on this shoe or $30 on this one? You go, well, I want to make $30. Why not just make both? Right? Because then you make more money. So we'll wrap it up here. That is the end of part 1 on my journey of $250 into a house. And you guys could see, if I really went ham with this much money, technically I could do it in 5 months. I'm gonna do it quicker. You guys know me, I'm gonna do it definitely quicker than that. But basically that's the numbers of it, and that's how simple it would have to be. My average client does 40% ROI per flip. So if you came to me with, hey kid, I got 4 grand that I want to get started with, you could turn that into basically $20,000 in profit if you flip that every month, which honestly isn't too crazy. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this series as well. If you're not following or subscribed already, click the red subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications so you can see my next upload. I'm gonna try to post these as quick as possible so you guys don't miss out. But other than that, I'll see you on next video.